This week, we're talking to Will Polston, life coach extraordinaire. Will runs coaching groups all over the country, helping people how to find their Northstar. In this episode, we're going to be speaking to Will about his upbringing, his relationship with money, and the impact of what it's like to lose everything twice. I've had coaching from Will. Half my guests have had coaching from Will. He's a magical guy. This is another episode you won't want to miss. Will, thank you very much. You are a hard man to pin down.
I'm looking forward to this. I've been watching the show. I'm like a little fanboy.
I today wanted to really find out for our listeners and our audience, our viewers and everybody, is where does it all start? Where have you got this whole thing? Where does it hatch out of? Because you were up the smoky city with a proper job, weren't you? Being a real adult.
I don't know whether you class it as a proper job when you know what we were doing. But for me, I mean, look, it all boils back down to, like a lot of people in entrepreneurship, of stuff that happened in yesteryear. And I grew up with a belief that money equaled happiness.
Right.
I went on a tangent to make as much money as I could as early as I could. I was the kid in school, like many of the guests you've had on here, buying and selling and ducking and diving and doing stuff in school. And then but even that came about from my dad. So my dad worked in London as well. Used to get up at 5 a.m, come home at 7, 8 o'clock at night. But James, he was one of those people where I remember being 8, 9, 10 years old. He'd walk in the door and I could just feel a tension. I could feel like physically feel it. It's really weird to go back and remember that.
From the pressure that he was under at work and stuff.
Yeah, so he was head of IT of a big brokerage, and it's just stressful. Like computers, everything that was on him.
Well, you're saying you felt it. How old were you then?
9, 10.
Really?
Yeah. I remember coming in, because he would come in and I'd feel it. Now look, I had a very loving childhood. I want to make that really evident. I've got 2 amazing parents that are still together today. We always had clothes on my back, shoes on my feet, food in the fridge. I was super fortunate in that respect. But it was just remembering that moment. And I've also got 2 very wealthy uncles. One's a billionaire, the other one's a multi-millionaire. And one day Dad come home from school. I came home from school and my dad was at home, and he'd quit his job to set up a business with one of my uncles. I remember thinking, yes, this is it. Dad's going to be just like Uncle Steve. And I thought, it's going to be amazing. Anyway, fast forward a little bit. So I'm about 10 at this point. I'm the oldest of 4. And then I started noticing things were different. Like Dad, curtains would be shut all day, wouldn't leave the house. Mum then started going out and working different jobs. Ultimately, I was supposed to keep the mortgage paid and whatnot. And I just observed him what in today's day and age we would call experiencing feelings of depression. And I just connected the dots. I was like, Uncle Mark, billionaire, really happy. Uncle Steve, multi-millionaire, really happy. Dad, when he worked in London, yes, he was stressed, yes, he was frustrated, but he's a lot happier then than he was now when he's like not leaving the house. So for me, it was obvious money equaled happiness, and that was the thing that sent me off in school, buying and selling. And I would buy stuff out the Essex Chronicle, sell it on eBay. I was buying all sorts of stuff. Livestrong bands were a big thing. I used to buy a little so back in the day, Nokia 3210 was the first ever phone. It was like a giant brick, but you could stick these stickers on them, and they would light up. And we used to say they'd stop you getting cancer. I was like 13 at this point, doing all those things. But then what happened was, I was in relative terms earning a lot of money for a 13-year-old, and I would get on the bus with my mates. They'd be given a £5 from their parents to pay for their bus journey and their McDonald's, but I'd have like a couple of £100 cash and buy a new pair of trainers every week. And I got into fashion, and then I ended up working in a clothes shop, a luxury clothes shop. Decided I wanted to be I just wanted to be a multi-millionaire. That was the goal.
But you in that clothes shop, because I've heard you speak about this to others before, you had some good interaction with quite wealthy people, wouldn't you? Like they were regular customers, weren't they? That came back time and time again, and you started sort of quizzing them, didn't you?
So I was 15 when I got that job as a Saturday boy, and I loved it. It was the dream. So at the time it was the only shop in the world, only independent shop in the world that sold Gucci, Prada, Dolce & Gabbana, and Etro in the same shop outside of a city. That was the only one in the world, because Chelmsford never used to be a city, as you know. So the clientele were the rich and famous. And I was there, and I had two of my arguably first mentors, Paul and Chris. Chris owned it. Paul was the manager, and I learned a lot from those guys. But the people that would come in were great people, and I decided that's what I want. I want to own my own clothes shops. So I know you've experienced with school, but I didn't love school. I was okay at school, and my mum really wanted me to go to college. So I the whole of that summer I worked in the shop. She really wanted me to go to college, and I was like, I don't know. So I went to college on day one.
To do what at college?
Business studies.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
because I wanted to own my own. So this is where it all links in. I wanted to own my own clothes shops. That was the thing. And did business studies. But I had a plan. And my plan was, I don't want to let my mum down, so I'm going to go to college and quit on day one. So at least I've said I've gone to college. And I did. I quit on day one. And
did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Got a girlfriend out of it, though. Yeah, I saw this beautiful, stunning girl when I got her number, and she became my girlfriend. But yeah, I quit on day one and worked at the shop. And then I worked there until I was 18. And I remember being 17 and being the assistant manager of 5 stores at one point, and I loved it. I absolutely loved that.
And
job.
what was the brand? What was the shop?
It was called Zagger.
Zagger.
Yeah.
No, I think I bought clothes out of Zagger back in the day.
Yeah, and you had people from all walks, like professional footballers, city traders, property developers, and you got to really know. Even still to today, there's some people that come to the dinner that used to shop there then, and I can still remember specific items of clothes they bought from over 20 years ago. Wow. Yeah, and I first mentioned it to one of the guys when he was here. He's like, "Oh my god, you actually do remember that?" I said, "I can tell you what shoe size you are, what waist size you were then." Weird memory, but yeah. And then what happened was there was a legend in the industry called Neil Bounds, and he set up a shop also in Chelmsford, and it failed. And I remember at that moment thinking, well, if he can't do it, I can't do it. I best do something else. So I thought, well, I want to be a multi-millionaire. I've got all these clients that are multi-millionaires. I'll just do what they do. What they do.
And that one example at that tender age made you just think, oh, well, that's not possible.
Yeah.
That's interesting, isn't it? Because, if you can't see what you can be, you can't be. But that one thing was in reverse. It turned you off of that idea. So that snuffed that out.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Because the way that I looked at it, and this is what I mean, it's been a fascinating journey over 20 odd years, but the whole idea of, well, if he's the best and he can't do it, I can't. Which in today's day and age, we know that's not the case, right? There's all different variables. But that was the case. So I thought, well, I want to be a multimillionaire. I just need to do what the majority of our clients do. And I put them into 4 categories. So they were professional footballers, property developers, stockbrokers, and drug dealers. And I thought I just need to be one of them. Yeah. So let's
narrow that down. Football, that's not
rubbish at football. Yeah,
drugs,
exactly
forget that.
Yeah, and so I ended up, and I was poached basically by one of the guys, because I used to have people every week saying, I wish you'd come and work for me. You know what it's like? You're going out all the time. You're seeking new talent, aren't you? You go to a good venue. Oh, I'd have you. I'd love to. Yeah. You can come on. Well, I know with Kelly. You're going to the bank. Oh, you'd be great. Yeah. So that was the case. I went and worked for them. Worked in financial services, and that was when I first. So I became a broker. That's when I first stumbled across personal development, because I was money obsessed, James. Absolutely money obsessed. And anything that I could do to give me an edge, I would do it. And what I did learn early on was who were the best people in the office, and I would just go and sit next to them, and I would observe, what are they doing? What are they saying? What they're doing? How they're doing things differently? To the point where I remember there used to be brochures that got sent out, and the ones that were most successful would have a really good phone call, grab the details, and then just put the details to one side, and then just get straight back on the phone and have another conversation. And at the end of the day, they would send out their 10 brochures, print all the letters, go to the printer once, go to the post room once. Whereas the people that were just trying to get through the day would, this is my excuse. I'm going to walk to the printer, wait there, go back, go to the post. So I was learning all these little insights, and did that. And that was when I first stumbled across personal development. The first book I ever read was The Secret.
Was it, Will? Was the first book The Secret? The first book
was The Secret, yeah.
Wow.
And
because I didn't read The Secret, that was like my 100th book.
Yeah.
I never read that first. I came to that late then.
Yeah. So, well, Yeah, I mean, I think the book originally came out in 2007, maybe.
Because there's two versions of it now, isn't there?
There's multiple versions. You've got the Secret, which is like the original.
Yeah.
Then you've got the Power. You've got the Hero. You've got the Strangest Secret. There's
The
versions
Strangest
that
Secret I've just read,
no,
yeah.
not sorry, the Strangest. What's the other one called?
No, is it the Strangest Secret?
There's the Strangest Secret by Old Nightingale,
Yeah, that's right.
which originally was an audio, arguably the first ever personal
Yes.
development audio, and there is a little book on it as well. But yeah, so Rhonda Byrne, and what happened when I read that book, I thought, oh my God, I've been doing this stuff my whole life and never realised. So when I was young, making this cash, whatever, I would buy myself petrol scooters, mini motos, the little mini motorbikes. I would buy items of clothing. I would visualise it, see it, and I would make it happen. But I thought, wow, this is actually a thing. So the more personal development I did, the more money I made, and that went on for some years. Because, I mean, in my late teens, early 20s, I was making more money a month than most or all of my friends were making a year. And then one of my old bosses said, right, there's this guy called Tony Robbins. I've heard of Tony Robbins. Said, we're going to go to his event. This is May 2013. And that was where I had my, what I call lightning moment, and bam.
And I've watched lots of his stuff, never been to an event. And is the event the big thing? Is it that much power and stuff and energy with it all? It's quite a production, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that is what it is, a production. You know, he's been doing this for 40 years now. Yeah. Absolutely honed his craft.
And he's actually larger than life, isn't he? The whole thing of it. He's a huge character as well, and a huge person.
Yeah, it's like going to a rock concert that changes your life. So you go to a rock concert, and it's loud, it's whatever. He's an acquired taste. He's not for everybody. No. But yeah, that was it for me.
And then on that, you started actually doing. I mean, we're skipping around here a bit, but on that journey, you saw that you actually started putting your own events on, didn't you?
Yeah. So what actually happened? So I had the big life changing moment. So what the life changing moment was in at a particular point in the event, I started crying my eyes out for about 15 minutes, because in that moment I realised my real driver was not money.
Right.
It was never about money, really. What it was really about was my dad.
Oh, explain that.
And how my dad hadn't achieved certain things he was capable of, and the impact that had on him and my mum and me and my family and a whole host of other people. And I vowed in that moment, I don't want anyone else to go through the suffering that he went through and we went through.
Right.
And that was the trajectory. And I remember,
so that had quite a profound effect then. What was going on with the vibrations that your dad was giving off by that coming home and you feeling the tension? It actually lived with you quite. That got into your soul a bit, didn't it?
But without knowing. So all of the things that I'm talking about now, obviously I've done huge amounts of personal development, huge amounts of reflection. I wasn't conscious of any of that stuff at the time. It was only years later when I was able to work it back. It was just a thing. And like lots of things, is that you live a life just in a way that you're living it. And it was Carl Jung that said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it'll run your life and you'll call it fate. And that was what was going on. And I remember coming home that day, because it's a rah-rah event. You know, everyone's jumping up and down and going for it. And I remember coming home and sitting my family down and saying, I'm going to become the world's best life coach. And I literally remember doing it. I remember exactly where I stood, because that was the goal then. It's not the goal now. I'll explain where that changed, because whilst that's what I said, it was never what I meant. So what I meant was I wanted to help people, but I just said, I want to become the best life coach. There is a distinction, because me becoming the world's best life coach is about me being this thing. It's not about me being, it's what's the impact that we can have and the ripple effect that I talk about. But so I did that. The next day I went into London. I remember Fenchurch Street, NatWest, and set up the business bank account. So the night I said about it, then I went online and set up a company on Company's House. The next day I went and set up the bank account, and then I did nothing. Right. And I said, I'll do it when I'm successful.
Right.
When I've got everything sorted out, then I'm going to do this, which I refer to now as when-then syndrome. Anyway, fast forward some time, I did leave the city, set up a renewable energy business. That was an interesting time. I mean, we went from a standing start. We had 85 staff within 18 months, growing, pumping all the profits back into the business. Government changed legislation, killed that business pretty much overnight. Yeah. And that was when I thought to myself, why I'm still just chasing the money. Yeah. Why don't I do the thing I really want to do?
And those hiccups and trip ups, the only way to qualify them is to embrace them. I mean, I say this with with so many, but the only way to do it, we both help younger people than us, and we see the hiccup, and they devastates them, and you just have to say, look, this is a good thing. These scars are good scars, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? And that's the only way to qualify it. Otherwise, you will go into the black doom of doubt.
Yeah, there's a lot of beliefs that we can have, and ultimately our beliefs shape our reality. And I do genuinely believe that life happens for you, not to you. Nothing is in the way, it's on the way. And if you can, it was Albert Einstein that said that you if you can choose, I'm paraphrasing this, but like you can basically choose, is it a beautiful universe or not? And if you can see in every given moment that what's happening is perfect, then life is amazing. And it's easier said than done. I've had some really challenging times, which I'm happy to chat about, but in almost all of us, we go, oh, time's a healer. I disagree. Time isn't a healer. What's a healer is perspective. But for most people, because they don't have the strategies to gain perspective, it takes them the time to get this perspective.
See, I always say state is the healer. That if you can change your state, and people say, well, it will take a bit of time, and what you just said there, you can change very quickly. You just need to change your state. And if your state changes and you're not going to put the energy into the doom and gloom thing that's just happened to you, then you can just quickly pivot, remove the energy from that problem or from that piece of history that was causing you the sadness, and then just move on. And that compartmentalization, I think, is a quality of the entrepreneur, because they don't let them get down by it. And let's qualify that. That's easier said than done, because your story, you went ahead with making quite a big operation for putting on events on, and that went a bit horribly wrong, didn't it?
Yeah. So to fast forward it out, because I think it's helpful, and maybe for the people that are early in their journey, because I know that you've got a lot of very experienced people that have been on the show. Was that, so how did I go from, well, I'll do it when I'm successful, which was a belief, to then shifting that? So what actually happened? So the business failed, went on holiday, and I know a mutual friend of ours at the time, we were just talking about his teeth. He'd been to the hygienist, right? So my girlfriend at the time, she was a dental nurse, and she said, well, you've got to come in and have your teeth cleaned by the hygienist. All right, well, we did it all the time. Went in, the hygienist clipped my gum. Now, what then happened, this was like a week before we went away, it then got infected. Now, at this point, and you've never known me when I was this person, but I used to be a big binge drinker. I played rugby since I was 4, ice hockey since I was 8, lads culture, drink, like get binge drunk. And to deal with the aftermath of the solar company basically dying, we booked this holiday to Cancun, and all inclusive, all alcohol included. And I was like, I can't believe I'm not going to be able to drink on this holiday. And because they clipped the gum, what then she then said was that you need to take these antibiotics. You can't, do not drink on these ones, Will. They're the ones you absolutely can't drink on. So I went away, and I went away with another Rhonda Byrne book, who was the same author that wrote The Secret. It's called The Hero. And I read a passage of the book by, and he spoke about a guy called Mastin Kipp. And he used to post a motivational quote on Twitter every day. And one day he got retweeted by Kim Kardashian, and he went from 1,000 followers to 10,000 followers overnight. Wow. I just cried my eyes out. And I was like, I don't need to wait. I don't need to wait. I could just post a quote on social media. So I did. I came home. I posted a quote a day for a week. The week after that, I thought, oh, Will, you idiot. Some people don't go on social media in the morning. Post one in the afternoon as well. I did that. Week after that, I made my own website. Week after that, I wrote my first blog. 3 months after that, I had a 10,000 strong social media following. So it evolved into us running our first event, which leads us on to what you said. So we ended up building up this network all over the UK. And at the time when I did the big event for the first time, we were running about 80 events a year all over the UK, personal development events. The business model was subscription. But what had happened that we haven't touched on was, before I left the city, I was making a lot of money, but then I lost everything. Right. Everything. Through a bad investment, basically. And in order to do a few things, I'd borrowed some money from my mum at one point, and then it was 2018, and my sister got pregnant, And when my sister got pregnant, I knew that deep down my mum really wanted to quit her job. But she couldn't quit her job because I hadn't paid her back this money.
Right.
So I thought, right, I'm resourceful. Let's come up with a way of making the money. And I thought, what have I got? Well, I've got all these people that love coming to events. I like personal development. Right, I could put on this event, make a minimum of 50 grand, could make 200 grand. Let's go at it. And long story short, of a whole, I mean, it's comical really. The event ended up losing 100 grand.
Oh.
So I was even further back from what I set out to do. But that beat me up a lot because I was realising in that moment I'd become what I perceived I'd become my dad. The person who was having a negative impact on the family, the person that for years I resented and whatever else, which isn't the case now. But that was that. And that was just so that was the second time losing everything and more.
And do you, and from looking back on those periods of stuff, were you able to just, wipe your mouth, pivot, and then go into something else? I mean, you're getting less choices here, aren't you? You're having to do this to actually survive now, aren't you?
Yeah, we was able to pivot. I mean, we did, yes, but there were some other elements that made it challenging. I think the reality was, and this is kind of where strategic thinking comes into play, is actually the net outcome, and this, I'm so obsessed with outcome, is what's the net outcome you actually want? Because a lot of people, they will say, I'm going to do this, but the net out, what I really wanted was my parents to be mortgage free. But that didn't mean I needed to pay them back this massive amount of money in one. I could have just taken over the mortgage for a couple of £100 a month and they would have been mortgage free. Right. But I didn't think about that at the time because I didn't have the perspectives to come in and challenge me on that. That would have achieved the outcome that I wanted and would have meant I didn't need to put on this massive big grand event. So did I learn a lot from it? Absolutely. And I'm a big believer that nothing is created or destroyed. It just changes form. So where did I gain all of that cost that went into that event and the money that was, I didn't lose it. It changed form. Where did it go? Well, it gave me the knowledge and experience and wisdom to be able to help solve things. And then in years that preceded that, clients I was able to work with, I could prevent them from making certain mistakes, not necessarily running events, but in the way that it got me, which I was paid for. So you could argue it was like a form of an expensive university education.
A mini micro lesson and course all in one.
Yeah, absolutely. And
then what happened, because when we first met was actually just outside, was it in this room?
No, it was literally.
It was just outside.
Outside.
We're in the Oak Room today, by the way, people, not in the salon. But we met here. What was the event? What was the event called that was being put on?
It was it was called Local Meeting. But it was a local meeting for Entrepreneurs Circle. My job was Entrepreneurs Circle, and I don't think it went to plan.
One of my contractors that looks after our IT was putting it on, and he was the host, and he said, "Could we borrow the house?" And I said, "Yeah, of course you can, no problem." And you were hanging around. I met you, and we saw him. He had a table and about 25 chairs all laid out. It was all going to go swimmingly well. And as the evening sort of drew on to the due date of sort of 7:30. I think one other person turned up, so I thought, "Oh my God,
you need to make up the numbers."
Make the numbers up. I joined in, and I sat there anyway. We got talking, this, that, and the other, and we got on really well. And I ended up doing some work with you, and it was the most profound thing I'd ever really done, because I'd never really shared. I'd been very lonely in my entrepreneurial journey, sort of just gathering some scars, pivoting, tilting, shutting a company down, doing it different, and just smashing through my career. And I kind of sat with you for a good sort of like year to 18 months. I worked with you. I've been in your office, and you're very good, by the way. He's very good, by the way. So annoying. You've had me crying my eyes out in there, haven't you? I thought, you can't charge me that much money. It made me really cry. But not true. Listen, let me carry on, because you really gave form to what I was doing, and you're and you can only be able to do that. You are so bloody studious. I ask you for a book, and you go, "Oh, I know one." You're a devil for the knowledge. You travel the bloody world, going to everything that's on events. You speak all around the world. You go to masterminds that are mega masterminds. And you've met Tony Robbins. You went to that event. You've met him. What was his name? Dr.
John DeMartini.
John D. Say it again.
Dr. John DeMartini.
DeMartini. You hosted him here at Baddow Park.
Literally sat here in this room, wasn't
he?
he?
And he was an absolute superstar, wasn't he? And the credibility that you got from that, and we got as a venue for having him here. He's a very, very busy man, and that was really an eye opener and a very, very prestigious event that we had here, and it was great. And I just, I feel that backstory to where you are now is so different. You found your place and your niche. Because tell the audience, what is your strap? What do you say your strap is? You say that you're gonna touch.
Look,
what do you call it then? Mission?
Northstar. I call it my Northstar.
Your Northstar.
Northstar. So I believe that a Northstar is a mission in life that is the equivalent of trying to empty the sea with a spoon. We go, well, you can't empty the sea with a spoon. Exactly, that's the point. So what's the thing that you're willing to work towards in whatever form it may come, regardless of getting to a place? So for me, that's empowering people to transform excuses into results and live a life they love. I genuinely believe when people live a life that they love, when they unlock their full potential, not only does it benefit them, but it benefits their family, their friends, their community, society, humanity, the ripple effect. And so now what we essentially do is we help predominantly entrepreneurs, but I've worked with a range of high performers, so you can call it high performers, in people in sport and celebrities and whatever else, but predominantly entrepreneurs unlock their next level of potential performance and purpose. But you give people structure in your Northstar program, don't you? Because you actually break it down so that they can actually see what their wants, requirements, and needs are. Yeah. Is that right? I mean, it's the process that we use. I mean, I think of it like an elaborate form of goal setting, because lots of people have no goals. Then some people have some kind of shaped goal, and then other people have the goals that they think they want, but they don't really want. They want something other than that. And then there's the people that I try and steer that say, I want X. I call it when-then syndrome. When I achieve this, then I'll be okay. When I get that, then I'll be all right. When I do this, then I've literally dozens of people that I have worked with one-on-one with that have sat opposite me like you have now, that have had the dream, whether it's the dream partner they always wanted, whether it's selling the business for whatever. I mean, the biggest was over 300 million quid, and we're working, and he's like, bought the biggest villa in Ibiza, like done all of the material things that you could possibly think you could want. Yet they're still experiencing feelings of depression because they haven't got that North Star. We haven't tapped them into it. The moment we tap them into that, their whole energy changes, their focus, their drive. They can live a congruent, aligned life, and everything comes. It's like the skeleton, and everything else is the meat on the bones.
We'll put this up, Ollie. If you can do this, we'll put Will's book up as a snippet into the edit, because you finished that book when? What year did you finish the book?
Well, it came out in July 2023.
Yeah, so 2023. And I have given it away, I have recommended it, I have put people onto you for it, and I use that, I go back to that. It's a very good place to go back to a template to refresh to what you want to do. The way you've written it, it doesn't matter. You can open it up anywhere, can't you? It's not, you're not, oh, hang on, I need the backstory to where I am on this page. You can open it up at any page and start reading it, and it's starting to give you structured information to control your life going forward. And I think that's, it's been a great success. The book speaks for itself. But that, and people go and look up for Will Polston's Northstar. It really is a manual that you need to have it on your shelf, and it works, and it really works, and it's become a document that people should have there. looking forward, Will, with what you're doing now, you still doing one-to-ones, or you can?
Yeah, I still do a little bit of one-on-one, but we've got other programs.
You're busy, man, aren't you?
Yeah, we've got some stuff going. Because obviously, where's the?
He's such a modest sod. That's such an understatement. He's like so busy. Go on, explain.
So yeah, I mean, we run different. I mean, my thing, and look, I've learned a lot of stuff the hard way. Yeah. I'm relatively young. I'm 36 years old. I've lost financially lost everything twice. Yeah. Which I hope for most people they don't do it once, let alone do it twice. There's been a huge amount of business lessons that I've learned the hard way, and also with other businesses. So we touched on the solar business. I've got a couple of other businesses which we can touch on now as well. But there's across the range of different things, but genuinely. One of your biggest strength is your biggest weakness, and your biggest weakness is your biggest strength. And one of my things, had like this ooze, I believe it to be like oozing out of me, and wanting to genuinely help people in whichever way I could, that become my detriment. Because what I know now is that if you want to get ahead really fast in any area, really, is niche. Be micro niche, and then you'll build the traction faster. I didn't. I was like, I can work with anybody. I can do this. But just because you can doesn't mean you should. And that slowed me down for many years. I mean, today I was trying to work it out the other day because we used to keep a track. We don't anymore. We've run over 500 events. I mean, it might even be nearer 600 or 700 now, but way over 500 events. I personally just one-on-one coaching have done over 7,000 hours of one-on-one coaching. I mean, yeah. So I just learned the patterns, like the patterns of behaviour of things that work. But when it comes to certain marketing that we've got wrong and various other things, there's a huge amount of that that we don't get.
And the whole marketing thing is a moving animal all the time with technology and different AI and all sorts of things, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And so in relation to you said about sort of travelling around and going to different groups, I'm obsessed with knowledge. Anything, whether it's like ancient wisdom right through to modern day stuff, like some of the stuff I've been learning about AI and I mean, for a year, I've had a clone that you can talk to and things like that. So there's elements, but yeah, I want to be busy. I want to do it because it fulfills me. It gives me energy. And
tell us your involvement, because you took me to one of these that I had the best night out, and we went to a bitter event. Explain a bit about that, because that's something that's very much on your radar, isn't it?
Are you talking about the bitter one or the one where we get you all dressed up in a white tie?
No, do the bitter one first, because that's interesting, because you're heavily involved in that, and that was very, very interesting that night.
Yeah. So and again, this is a funny thing. I got invited to come and speak. This is back in 2017. I got invited to come and speak at the British and Irish Trading Alliance, as it was then. It's under 35's event, and Ryan Dignam asked me to come and speak. He was the chairman at the time, and I used to train Ryan years ago when he used to work in the city. We were working for a stock brokerage, and he asked me to come in. I did the talk. A load of people come over afterwards, said that was really good, and then I got invited to one of their big lunches. It's called the Construction Lunch. I remember going to this lunch thinking, wow, this is amazing. They've got a motto: people who know people that help people, and I love that motto. I wish I could have it for myself, because I do genuinely love it. And what I witnessed at this event was amazing. And it's the way I describe it now. It's the who's who of construction. So everyone, right up to like one of the patrons is Ray O'Rourke, who I had the privilege of becoming a mentor through Bitter. And so then I eventually joined the Under 35's board, and then for a period of time I was chairman of the board. And then I left that and I thought, right, that's kind of my done. And then I got a phone call from the president of Bitter, not Donald Trump, not that president. Got the president and said, would you join as a non-exec director to the organisation, which I've done and still am. Right. So yeah, but it's the lunch that you came to is. I mean, you got 200 people in a room.
But that was proper connections going on there, wasn't it? Yeah. I mean, they were serious. I mean, it was mainly to do with construction and stuff like that, but there was a lot of business going on in that room. It was a big room, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they normally have about 250 people there, and when we say construction, obviously construction's a really broad term, but these are the biggest companies. Yeah. I mean, Lang O'Rourke is literally the biggest privately held company in the world. $3 billion, very
generous man, isn't he?
Yeah,
he lives local to me where I am over at Ingatestone, and I've met him a couple of times in the pub and stuff like that. but a very generous man. You know, you start speaking to him, he'll give you anything that you want knowledge. He's a good guy, a really good guy. And then the other event, what was that? Explain what that was.
So that was
because you dressed me up like a soldier.
Yeah, you did look very handsome, very dashing.
I had tails on.
If I send you the photo, can we pop that up on you? We'll get it up.
Go on then. Yeah, don't worry. Yeah,
you looked good. You looked really good.
Tails on and everything, Ollie. I look like a right Burke.
You look very good, very handsome. But that was that was what is now the Worshipful Company of Entrepreneurs, which is a livery in London. And we went to.
We had Princess Anne.
Yeah, Princess Anne
brushed past me. Royalty nudged me. It was lovely.
Pinch your bum.
Yeah, no, she did. She just swooped past with all her bodyguards. It was great.
So that was that event, and you were sat next to Lord Lee as well.
Yeah, I was Lord Lee. Yeah. It was very interesting, and I've got me a Baddow Park house hat on. I'm going, this food's red hot, and they're serving 400 people all at the same time. How do they do it? I kept creeping around the back to see what the back of the house looked like. It was a brilliant event, and we met some great people, and it was exciting, wasn't it? It was brilliant. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And you still doing that?
Yeah. I mean, that come about again through Bitter. So one of the people at Bitter is kind of the head of the highways at the City of London. I did some stuff that he felt was beneficial and was noteworthy. So he arranged for me to be awarded the Freedom of the City of London, and then he came along to the ceremony, which is the most amazing ceremony in history at Guildhall, and there's some just unbelievable. And then he said, "So what livery are you going to join?" I said, "What livery? What do you mean? What livery? I don't know what you mean." He said, "Well, everyone joins. Normally, you join a livery and then you can get your Freedom of City London. For whatever reason, it happened the other way around." And he said, "You should join the Company of Entrepreneurs. You'd really fit in there." So I found out about it, and then I've been involved since. There's some cool people.
Because for listeners and viewers, Will Polston gets everywhere. If you follow Will on Instagram, you are a dog with a bone with these events. You're invited to talk. You've got other groups that we don't know anything about. That you're there, aren't you? You're there doing stuff with them, and I think that your aspirational sort of reach, that you reach out to so many people, and I think a lot of it is that you've got that big phone book, you've got such good relationships, and I ask you, I'm looking for someone to do this, bang, you go, yep, no, actually I think Sarah's brother-in-law's auntie's uncle can do that, whatever, and that's what happens, isn't it?
So there's a mentor of mine, a guy called Joe Polish, and he wrote a book called What's in It for Them, and there's another little really thin book called The Go Giver, and my view is I treat what I can do like equity, like you would treat money. So if you think of money, you put money into a bank account, it accumulates over time. If you decide you want to take something out, you want to go and buy something, you take money out of the bank account. We all have resources. Some people have got loads of money. Some people have got really good looks. What I've been good at for years is collecting people. I can still, to this day, remember when I worked in the clothes shop, and I never dawned on it. It dawned on me about 3 years ago that for some weird reason, people, even in these clothes shops, 20 years after, I can still remember what they do for a living, what their name is. I can remember weird things about them, but I could always remember what they did for a living. And I use that. So what I mean is that if someone's got a problem, I sort of run through the little Rolodex in my head of, right, who can I help them? Do the instructions. No, what do you want from this? I just do it because I know that the relationship equity, somewhere, the universe is going to pay it back in some way or another. And I think there's a lot to be said for that, because then when you do need to make a withdrawal, you can. And I attempt, and look, I'm not perfect, but I attempt to make sure that I leave anybody that I come into contact with in a better place.
Because you never know what's going to happen with what you might need in the future. I had a really good employee work for me. It's a long time ago, and he was, he wanted to be his own person, and off he went. Anyway, he ended up being head of the parks department in London. He was on the phone 2 years later. "Hello, mate. Remember me? Joe, I used to work for you." His name was Joe, lovely guy. He said, "We're looking for a contractor to do this." and he got us doing work in the royal parks, and it was just that example of, never burning bridges behind you, leaving on good terms with people, keeping people's phone numbers. It's so much easier with our iPhones now. I used to have the old file of faxes stacked up in a drawer, thumb through them to find people's telephone numbers. There's another thing that people don't know about you, and it's all to do with your sweet tooth. So we're going to come up with a feature today. I've just made this up in my head, so Ollie's got no idea that we're doing this. It's called Sweet Corner. So, if we were eating chocolate, Will, what would we be eating?
Oh, it's obvious. Galaxy chocolate. That's obvious. So, yeah, Galaxy chocolate.
Galaxy chocolate. See, I've been backwards towards France, and I keep going into the petrol stations, and they've got, what's the mauvey coloured one? It's Swiss chocolate.
Lindt.
Milka?
Milka. Milka. Yeah.
Oh, Milka with the little honeycomb bits in it. Oh man, it's fantastic. In the fridge, straight out the fridge. Ollie, what would you be eating?
I like a double decker.
A double decker.
Double decker? Who's ever said a double decker?
It just shows your age, man. You're just a youthful nothingness. It's a double decker.
Yeah, you don't really see double deckers so much anymore.
Because no one wants them.
More for me.
I used to love the advert when they broke open the Lion Bar and then used to make it raw. Do you remember that? It was very clever.
On all seriousness though, I'm what day's today? 11th. I'm doing the whole month of no sugar, and I think I'm going to carry it on.
So where are we now? We're 11th. Good luck.
Well,
hang on a minute. Hang on. Will Polston, I know you. That ain't going to happen.
No, and I genuinely think it is. So, I'm happy to talk about this. So,
would you like a Malteser?
Yes, please. Another pack. I stopped drinking just over 7 years ago. One of the best decisions I ever made. Still to this day, I've never said I'm never going to drink again. It went from what started off as a challenge, which is a year off, to becoming a choice. And for me, there's no way I could operate at the level that I operate. And I've got stuff going on, some really good stuff, but also some challenging stuff. And there's no way I could be able to do the things that I'm doing if it wasn't for not drinking alcohol. And then what happened was that sugar became my vice. It was my escape.
Yeah.
And like a lot of entrepreneurs, I have no off button. Yeah. So when I used to drink, I wouldn't drink every night. I wouldn't be having like a beer at home every night. But if I was out, I was out and swinging from the chandeliers and whatever else. Yeah. But and I just decided one day I don't want this, and sugar had become the same. I've been trying to lose a particular amount of weight, wasn't happening. And then if I was having a thing for me with sugar was if I would celebrate, I would have sugar. If I was bored, I'd have sugar. If I was stressed, I'd have sugar. So every opportunity, it became this thing, and I'd have a little bit, and then I'd want more. And it's far easier for me to completely abstain from doing it than to.
The drinking thing is interesting, isn't it? The dinner. Not a lot of people drink, do they? A lot less than back in my day. Everybody was a raving alcoholic. I mean, that was the culture of what it was. The Gen Z crowd, my nephew, they don't drink. Very little. I mean, we get asked here in the bar for a whole menu of non-alcoholic drinks. One of our best sellers is that Peroni Zero that we sometimes have that. I get a bit of a chemical headache with it sometimes.
Yeah, there's other one. I've become a bit of a alcohol-free connoisseur.
Connoisseur. You sent me a whole box of stuff one Christmas, didn't you? For all the beers.
Lucky Saint on tap. You should get that here. That'd be good. Yeah, I mean, I could reel off loads, but it what started off once upon a time as Beck's Blue, horrific. I won't drink it. Then Heineken Zero, won't really drink it. Then Peroni Zero, still now I'd rather not. There's other better ones out there. I do really like the Ghost Ship. You have the Ghost Ship in there. That's nice.
Yeah, I've tried that, and I do. For me, as I've got older as well, the drinking thing, the inflammation that it gives you on your body. Is a bit chronic with me. I feel achy now. Listen, I'm not drinking. I very rarely drink, but the times I drink, if I go to France, have a few glasses of rosé with ice and stuff like that. I know I've had them. Yeah. My body tells me that I've had them.
Yeah. Well, I got that with sugar. I was having full-blown sugar hangovers, and every now and then I'd do like a juicing diet, and I was like, the fluidness. I'd feel so good. All the inflammation that would come down, and just realizing that. Actually, I mean, I've said for years I want to live till I'm 150, right? But that's not just because I'm deluded. It's understanding epigenetics and the human genome and the developments. But the reality is one of the worst things for us is sugar. So
what's the book that Tony Robbins did? I read it. You recommended it to me.
Life Force.
Life Force.
Yeah, with Peter Diamandis and Dr. Robert.
Guys, Life Force. Look it up. Tony Robbins. Go on.
So that's brilliant. Yeah. So Tony Robbins, Peter Diamandis, and Dr. Robert H. I can't remember.
It's a read.
Yeah.
It's a thick book, but it's a proper read. I mean, and they're going to live for a long time. And it was all to do with stem cells and stuff, wasn't it?
They cover basically everything.
Yeah.
That in terms of the initial concept, right through to some real practical things, talking about whoops and stem cell, going to Panama and get stuff done. It's a bit of a beast. There's a few other really good ones to introduce the concept. Lifespan by David Sinclair is really good. Outlive by Peter Attia.
But the Peter Attia is like, do you help with him?
What do you mean?
Peter Attia? Is this the guy that's going to live for ages? Is that the billionaire guy?
No, I think you're thinking of Brian Johnson.
Oh, is that what it is? Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He's
dyslexic faux pas.
But he's the guy that looks like a robot. That's
yes,
the one
that's
you're talking
it.
about. Yeah. He sold Braintree. Which is
so. What does he think he's going to do?
Well, he's reversing his biological age, which any of us can do now. Right. You know, I wear this thing called a whoop, and now my biological age is 1.5 years or whatever it is younger than my actual quantum. So I was 34 point something, but it's trying to reverse that.
Could have kidded me. You look gorgeous, baby. You're all right.
Just go stress of the coal mines.
Go gently with it. Just go gently.
But but I just find it fascinating because, and it comes back to the Northstar piece, which is if you have a mission in life that you truly love and you want to do, you will do it for longer. And there's so many studies around it. So the Japanese, they have a concept called an ikigai, which we have. Our translation for it means a reason for being, which is a cross section between what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. Now, what's really interesting is where this concept comes out from is a tiny little island off of Japan called Okinawa, or a place called Okinawa. And they have more centurions than anywhere else on the planet. More people that live to over 100 years old than anywhere on the planet. Why? Because they've got this drive. They've got this purpose. So if you can have the purpose and you've got your body is physically fit enough to be able to do it, then why wouldn't you?
It's like this retirement thing, because it was an article, I think, that came up in The Guardian a few months ago, and it showed an average stat of from retirement to 5 years and you were dead. You know, an average. I mean, I'm never retiring. Not after that stat. Why would you? And I love what I do anyway. That Tai Chi. So I was in China with Genki and James, and we came out onto one of these in the middle of a city, and in the middle of the little park was about 25 people doing Tai Chi. So I said, I'm going to go and join them. And Janki's going, oh, no, don't. You're going to upset the locals, this, that, and the other. What they didn't know is when I was at drama school, we used to do it every morning. We had someone that used to do it. You can run a video of me doing it later naked. It'll be fine. And I went out there and just joined the corner and started doing it. And they were like, no way, he can do it. And it just, when that muscle memory kicks in, it just kicks through. And I was doing all the shapes and the cobra and all the rest of it. And they were just blown away. It was brilliant.
I didn't know.
They didn't video it. They just didn't video. No one grabbed their phone out. But there you go. Yeah, so that was China. China was interesting. Do you like China?
I've never been to China.
Oh, it is just mega. The play. We took a 4-hour flight, Will, internal to a factory where James makes all these bloody teddy bears, millions of teddy bears now. And you leave London and the sort of like the metropolis, and then it goes down to a few paddy fields, and then another metropolis and another London, and then another metropolis and another Dubai, and then this went on for 4 hours. It is gigantic. There is, I don't know how many billion people there, but they're so organised, no petrol scooters, everything's electric, so you get run over all the time because you can't hear the bloody things coming. But it was on steroids, and I was absolutely shattered by the time the week was over because we were just on the move. You're getting into your bedroom there about 12 o'clock after being taken to these bloody dinners, and they take you in a private room, Will, and bring all this weird food up, and it's just like, didn't taste very nice at all. It wasn't. The joke was, when we get back to the room, we're just ordering a Chinese takeaway. But it was a good experience. Your travels, where are you travelling to next?
So at the time of recording this, I will be out to America in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So.
And what are you doing? Talking, speaking?
I'm speaking. Yeah. I'm part of a group out there, and I'm speaking at that as well. So it's like a combined thing. So yeah, that's what's up next.
And what is going on? What does the future look like? What are you doing? Where's the bigger goal for what you want to get done?
So ultimately, it's about doing more of the same. So we are in the process of repositioning, I suppose you can call it that, me out of the personal brand into what is Evolution Institute. So my program's all about evolving. That's the common thing. Evolve Academy, Evolve Inner Circle, Evolve Mastermind, Evolve Legacy. All
so Evolve is your hook. Is your hook tag.
And so we're putting everything, kind of repackaging it into the Evolve Institute, Evolution Institute, and then scaling that. So I'm wanting to develop that into at least the UK's sort of number one brand for personal development for entrepreneurs. So then we can expand and go at that. And then, that's the bit, building it out, and then you're expand out from there.
You're super passionate about your stuff that you do, and you've helped so many people. And I bump into people that I didn't even know that you'd done personal development with, and they're raving fans of yours. And I personally had the opportunity on this pod, publicly to say, I would like to thank you very much, because you helped me at a time that I needed concentrated stewardship and direction, and you gave that to me. And also, while we have the opportunity as well, is to say what you do with how we work on the dinner. Your team, I know you say you don't do it, but you do a lot of work. That is a roaring success, what we do here. That community. We tried to work it out once, didn't we? We thought it was hundreds of millions of pounds of business had got done in that room. What did you do?
I remember working out that, this is ages ago. So we, at the moment, we've got about... 170 odd people in the WhatsApp group. We'll generally have 80 for dinner. Few rules in order for that to happen. But I remember working out between eight people, just 8 people, and this was about a year in. There'd been best part of like £2.5 million worth of business done.
Oh, easily. I think I've done over £1 million worth of business just with tenants that I've put into warehousing and offices. When you work out the length of their lease and whatever they've done, and it's come from the dinner. But
the key with the dinner, and I think it's good for people to understand this, was that the whole concept was born out of when I used to run these events all over the country. COVID hit, we took everything online. Yeah. So when everything went online, business is lonely at the best of times, let alone in COVID times. But what also happened was that I'm in a really fortunate position that I've worked with some amazing people, got some amazing friends that are really ambitious, really driven, some amazing clients that are really ambitious, really driven. And I used to sit there sometimes going, I wish they could just meet. Yeah. But meet purely in a social environment. And then that's where the idea of the dinner came up. And then there was no agenda, no membership fee, no sponsors, no cost to participate that they're paying me. Like, still to this day, I don't take a penny out of it. People literally just pay for their meal. But by doing that, I can be very selective with who comes, because it's not a business model where I'm going, actually, they're a bit of a knob, but
we'll take their money.
I'll have the money. Yeah. So I've been able to be super selective about it. And we have 3 rules, and there's a certain amount of revenue you have to have. That you're not a dick, and that you can attend a minimum of 1 in 3 events. And then that enabled us to create a really great community. And the WhatsApp group in itself has become, and this is the thing, I know you're massive on stewardship and having support, but when you can have those people around you that you can ask a question to, there's stuff that gets posted in that group at 6:30 on a Tuesday morning.
Yes, there
that
is.
People would pay hundreds, probably even thousands of pounds to get solved, and it's solved within 5 minutes because
within seconds it's solved, isn't it?
Because and this is what I was saying earlier about my mentor Joe Polish, about life gives to the giver. And by people giving it, I encourage people, what can you give? How can you contribute? And I don't sit people next to each other on the basis of, well, you're a main contractor and you're a subcontractor. I'm thinking, well, No, I know these two people who spoke about the law of attraction. I know these two people are really into boating. I know these two people are really into flying. And like all of a sudden, that's where the energy...
We do weird stuff because you'll be in the middle of doing something with a client and you've just rung me up on the spot and just said, are you busy? And I go, no, go on. He said, can you just tell this bloke about commercial property or how a lease works or something like that? And the other way round, I will ring you and say, Will, do you have a place, because this lady needs to talk to you about this? And all of that stuff is very cuddly, good feeling, because we know we're making a difference. And that's really what it comes down to, doesn't it? That we actually are making a difference and making people elevate so much quicker with less scars in their back.
I think so. I mean, it comes back, I think, for me, it comes back to that pain moment of remembering 25 odd years ago, what could... If there was information or a resource or whatever it might have been that could have just made it that little bit easier.
Yeah, definitely.
Then would have been
No, I agree. Ollie, what are we going to do? Can we do food to death? What do you call it?
Well,
you don't call it that.
Meal. You want to do a death row? Yeah, we can do a death row meal.
So death row, what is it?
What would be my last supper? Are we going like full 3 courses? Are we going all whack? Or am I just allowed a main?
I think 3 courses.
Yeah, 3 courses. Go
What's
for
your
it.
starter?
Okay.
This is right up Will Street.
I do love a bit of food. Well, I'm going to start with some appetizers. I'm going to have some olives, some nice, like the big ones. Then I'm going to have some really nice artisan bread with some really nice butter. But the bread where they've got the little salt crystals on them, so that always tastes really nice. Then I'm probably going to go for... Oh, this has really put me on the spot. I'm probably then going to go for maybe some sort of Parma cheese wrapped in Parma ham, like a mozzarella wrapped in Parma ham or something like that as a starter. And then main, I think I'm going to have to go pizza, pepperoni pizza.
Really?
Yeah.
Pudding? Oh, I know you're on the month of no sugar, but go for it.
I'm dying, so it doesn't matter, does it? That's it. I'm dead. I'm dead. Electric chair or whatever it is. I'm going. So I'm going to go. I'm going to have to go ice cream, like real good Italian gelato, or, and this is, maybe I'm sharing a secret that maybe I shouldn't share here. So obviously Jimbo's got Ross's, but a lesser known secret that most people don't know about Ross's is they've got a little secret ice cream. It's called the Churn. And you go and ask for ice cream from the Churn.
Yeah,
it's like
it's behind,
VIP. They know. They like give you
the
behind
the counter.
It's behind the counter. They give you like a little you're in the know, are you?
So,
and all of a sudden they're gonna have people queuing up there. So I'd have Ross's from the Churn in a waffle cone, like the sugar waffle cone, with a sidebar of Galaxy.
What, just jammed in it?
like a flake.
Yeah. Wait, so what's the Churn then? Is it sweeter or?
No, it's a different way they do it. It's a denser ice cream, like a creamier, denser ice cream.
It tastes more like a gelato, I think, more like an Italian.
And the bucket is the Churn. Right. They actually churn it, and then you have to take the bucket and put that in the freezer thing. I think now we'll set the bar so high there. I'd go for a mushroom foam. You know, because they always do that. They do posh, isn't it? I've been to these restaurants. They present this thing, and you just go, and it's gone.
It's gone. Yeah.
A mushroom foam. I could be with you on the olives, but I'd go for the mixed thing with olives. Lots of nice olive oil with them, and that'd be lovely. And the bread thing. Yeah, I mean the bread with olive oil dipped in olive oil,
balsamic.
And balsamic. That'd be really good. And then I'd go for one of those slow cooked sort of ribeye steak things where it just falls to pieces and it's all. Is that ribeye? No, it's not ribeye. When it's a cut, you just touch it and it just all falls to pieces, and a few potatoes, some nice asparagus, very nice. And then pudding, I'd go for a rice pudding. You know when they do the sort of the rice pudding with then like a dew thing on top of it, really nice.
Wouldn't it be nice if we were all going for dinner after this?
Just so happens
we are. Yeah. And that segue, we'll...
Thank you so much for your time. I know it's valuable time because you're a busy person, and I hope you at home have enjoyed our chatter and our natter. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Cheers, matey.
Take care.
If you've enjoyed the episode, make sure you hit those buttons and bells, and make sure you do the subscribe and give us a comment. Let us know what you think of the pods and how we're getting on and how we're delivering the message of entrepreneurs, the entrepreneurs conversation. And if I'm lucky, I'll see you on the next one.